We're going to start the meeting without Jim Ferryman. He's on his way, but because it's 9:30, a little after 9:30, we need to start. So first of all, okay, we'll just wait 1 minute if you could.
Yeah.
Because he's pulling in right now.
Once you get this all set up, right down to Bumpy, whatever. No, but it's Bumpy something or other.
You may want to come over and help me.
Bumpy
I mean, then he can do the password.
I did do that.
Yeah.
I heard it said the username and
If she's still helping, we'll go to number 2 and have
Code enforcement.
go ahead, and then go, because she's got item number 1. So then go to item number 2. 6 miles an hour.
Oh, what did we get invited to? I was going to ask you about this. We're invited to something during the conference. Shit. And I kept it. So that, because I don't...
Jimmy.
Excuse-moi.
Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Bumpy something.
Roll call.
What?
Director James Ferryman.
Present.
Secretary Arlene Schaefer.
Here?
Secretary Robert Uden.
Here.
Vice President Vice President Arthur Perry.
Here.
President Michael Schaefer is absent and excused from this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Public comments. Now's the time for any public that'd like to speak. Mr. Mosier, did you want to speak now? Okay.
Vice President Perry and members of the board, as you know, my name is Jim Mosier. I had 2 comments. I don't know if the directors were surprised as I was to find this meeting being in a new agenda online format that was, at least to me, unfamiliar. And I did manage to find the agenda and look at it, as I told Lonnie, and I'm sure she is on the case and going to solve this problem. Since one of the objectives of the district is zero waste, the features as it is now that the public sees is either view the agenda or print it out. And sometimes the packet is very big, and I don't think we want to be encouraging people to waste a whole lot of paper printing the agenda. In the former system we had, there was a way to download it electronically to what's called a PDF file, and you can see the exact equivalent of the book that is here at the meetings, of all the reports, all the staff, all the attachments to them in a single file that you could view anywhere, online, offline, or whatever you wanted to do with it. And I hope the new system will have a way to do that, and it will be prominently displayed so people who don't feel that they have to print stuff out to view it. Second comment, having seen the agenda, since I know it's of interest to the board and to the district staff, I was surprised to see that there wasn't further instruction or interaction between the two of you about the ballot measure, Measure TT, about the potential consolidation of this district and Mesa Water District. And the comments I wanted to make about that were, number 1, I looked as late as last night on Orange County Registrar's website of election measures. I haven't seen any change in the language, and I wanted to point out to the board and the district staff that sometimes even when you get a court judgment, sometimes the other party has to be informed to have that. I know Newport Beach got an injunction against the Orange County Register to not publish an article, and they never told the Register that they had won in court. So you want to make sure that all the steps are there. The Registrar may be just tardy in updating the website, but you want to make sure that they know what was decided. And number 2, as a citizen and ratepayer, I was hoping both districts would have on them some informational pages that were really prominent and easy to find, telling us about the pros and cons of the measure. I know neither district can tell us how to vote, but there's essential information that we would be looking for. And I wanted to point out one piece of essential information I would look for. The claim about the one-time savings is predicated on the idea that Mesa Water has discovered that in their opinion, this district's wastewater fund is holding about $10 million of reserves that they think are unnecessary. And I think it would be very good for this district to clearly explain to the ratepayers what those reserves are for. And if they were rebated to the ratepayers, whether that would, in the end, result in, assuming that they're there for some good purpose, result in the rates actually not being decreased, but having to be raised to replenish the reserves. Kind of like, it seems to me, depleting your bank account and then having to start putting payments back into it. And then the long-term savings, as I understand them, would be from the elimination of multiple administrative functions that the two districts have. And I think it would be reasonable to point out and explore that if that is the motivation behind it, the logic of that would be that both districts' functions should be absorbed into their respective cities, because that would have a maximum elimination of duplicate functions. So some clear explanation of the concept of districts, what advantage there is to that, and why absorbing them into a city is not more logical than putting the two districts together. Anyway, those are questions I think people would have, and it would be good to have objective information about them readily available.
Director, do you have a comment?
No.
Okay. I thought,
No, I just agree.
okay, just agreeing. Scott, any comment?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice President. Regarding the reserves, we do have information that, in fact, as Mr. Mosher was speaking, we're planning on putting on today,
Okay.
on our website today. So it clearly articulates what each fund is for and how it and what it's designated for. So you can clearly see that we do not have excess cash, just to keep it right. A lot of our reserves and our wastewater fund is to spend on capital improvements, which we plan on spending about $10 million in the next 5 years on capital improvements. Versus Mesa Water's plan is to borrow more money, which they have $200 million they said they're going to need to be spending in the next 10 years. So different philosophies on how to spending their reserves, but we will definitely put it on our website so the public can clearly see how our reserves are designated.
Okay. Arlene?
I just wanted to comment on the part that, I guess that it hasn't been pointed out that Mesa Water District has not done any contacting of Irvine Water District and also Newport Beach, the city, to let them know. We absolutely cross lines and, we're over in that area.
Yeah, we brought that to Mesa Water's attention months ago. They didn't want to talk about it. They just want to go through this issue, and then laughingly bring it up at the Tea Party event last Thursday. There was a member of the public who was serviced by Irvine Ranch Water District's wastewater was saying, well, how are we going to get refunded on this? And President Dwayne says, you will get a refund. And that's impossible because they're not paying into the system. So they're not going to get a refund. So that's a clear out lie. So, yeah, it's important we're not working.
I just think we need to, public relation-wise, get it out and say that
And I have
part.
a question for Nolani. The PDF file request, is that possible, like we had a note?
It is possible. I will work on that with our agenda manager and see how we can make that work.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, this is just a new system for us too, Mr. Mosher. And we're going to work out the bugs, but it looks like a pretty good system. I think it'll be good for everyone. Okay, thank you. Let's move down to organics tonnage.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Elizabeth Fan will begin with the report.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President and fellow board members and staff. So for the total tonnages that we collected for the fiscal year 15-16, CR&R collected 7,699.26. Comparing that to, now we're going to compare July 2015 to July 2016. July 2015 we collected 195.64, and the most current July we collected 742.41, which translates to a 73.6% increase. For the month of August, we collected 837.42 tons. So we are steadily progressing.
Any questions from the board? Okay, Cedric, thank you. Okay, let's go down to Code Enforcement Officer's report.
Good morning, Vice President Perry, members of the board. I'll be presenting the Code Enforcement Officer report for the month of August. For the month of August, I conducted a series of 10 scavenging investigations, which marks an uptick in the scavenger activity. For the benefit of the board, I did insert maps charting the locale of each of these contacts and a brief narrative explaining the circumstances surrounding the contact and the dispositions of the investigation. If anyone has any questions, they'd be glad to answer regarding these specific instances. Also, for the month of August, another uptake in activity as far as the amount of cards. Had 103 cases that resulted in the issuance of notices and follow. On average, I've been doing about 70 to 80. So there was a noticeable or marked increase in activity. Additionally, there were no cases of graffiti reported, and I beg your pardon if my map doesn't show up. I did insert a scavenging map, and I don't know if it's there on your electronic agenda.
No.
It's not in there? Should be. Yeah, I see a reference to scavenging map PDF at the bottom towards the end of the report.
Okay.
And that should chart, give you at a glance reference to the bulk of the activity. But as usual, if I could direct your attention to the maps, it's all concentrated primarily in the west side area of town and the area around Baker Street.
Arlene?
In discussions with my supervisor, Scott, Scott issued me a set of goals to pursue. In my effort to be responsive to the needs of the community, I have been coming in on weekend days. There's been a few complaints that have been making allegations of activity taking place over the weekends, and I primarily work business hours Monday through Friday. So I have been coming in on a couple hours on a Sunday to just have an idea of what the activity is, and it was surprising. So it seems that I think sporadic weekend enforcement is necessitated.
What did you find on Sunday?
Well, sir, I have a resident complaint alleging trash carts being used to demarc parking spots to preclude residents from outside of the residential tract from parking on a specific residential street. And I would go out during the course of the week, and I wouldn't see any instances. So the trash carts weren't really in violation during the course of the week. But on the weekend, I went out there and found a couple repeat violators. So I issued final notices of violations for properties, and actually was fortunate enough to run into the complaining party and had a good talk with them. And I also ran into the other side of the other party, the violating party, and had a good chat with them. So hopefully we should see a reduction in the complaints on that specific street.
Out of curiosity, do you plan how you're surveying the whole city?
I
In
do.
other words, one time you're on the west side, and then I just wondered if you were taking into consideration all sides of the city?
Yes, ma'am, certainly. Primarily, the first portion of my day is focusing on the scavenger enforcement. So the first early portions of the day are going to be focused on the scavengers, and that's going to be the area where the specific trash hauling day is scheduled.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, Monday would be this area right here. I'm going to be concentrating on scavenging.
Okay.
The tail end of my shift is going to take me into looking for trash carts being left out in the public view, addressing complaints outside of the specific trash hauling day. All right.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Thank you, Ed. Okay, let's move to number 3, citizen survey request.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. Elizabeth Van will be giving this report.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President and fellow board members. The district has requested a few RFPs from qualified public opinion research firms to conduct citizen surveys, citizen survey research analysis, and the purpose is to seek feedback regarding the level of satisfaction among ratepayers. The goal and objective of the study is to achieve a valid participation ratio for relevant feedback, assess ratepayer opinion of district rates for sewer and solid waste services, obtain the level of satisfaction for services, and identify resident awareness of district programs. The consultant is expected to create a survey instrument utilizing the Therefore, staff is recommending that the board consider approving special meetings for the citizen survey on September 26th and November 2nd. And in the analysis, we have included what we would like the consultant to research. They are supposed to find at least 500 ratepayers to interview and conduct a 20-minute interview based on the questions that the board will help facilitate. And then at the end, they will create a presentation and present it to the board with the key findings and recommendations from the study.
What were those 2 dates, September 26th and?
September 26th and November 2nd. And we currently have this budgeted for $30,000 as part of the professional services to conduct customer surveys. And I believe that funding will be sufficient.
What day of the week is the 26th?
Monday.
Yeah, it's a Monday.
How does that, Arlene?
I just had one question. What are you having said as far as the question on the organics? You know, are you?
Well, yeah.
That's the purpose of this September meeting,
Yeah.
is so we can work out what kind of questions you
Oh,
want to
okay,
ask.
okay.
So the September meeting is, so we'll have a special meeting with the consultant, and you can tell the consultant what kind of questions you want to ask.
On the 26th?
Yes.
Do you have a
Just
time?
formulated objectives.
What's that?
Do you have a time set?
No, I don't have time yet. It's up to you. Give us a time, what works, and we'll set it
Okay.
up.
Do we want to talk about that right now?
Yes, so we can.
Okay.
How does that look on your schedules?
Okay.
I'm open.
What, are you
Oh,
open like
that's,
at 9:30 in the morning? Is that what you're thinking in the morning, Scott?
Sure, sure.
Now,
How's that look on your schedule?
it looks like 7 to 9 is Newport Mesa School
Oh, they have
District.
a district
They're having
breakfast at Newport Harbor.
A breakfast.
Yeah, we could do it at 10.
Yeah. We could probably do it. We could leave there. If it's over at 9, I think. isn't
Yeah.
it? We could come right from there.
Right. Probably 9:30.
Okay, 9:30 works. And then the November 2nd meeting, are you okay with that meeting?
What day of the week is that?
I think that's a Wednesday.
So it was the 26th of October?
September.
September.
This month.
September.
Wednesday.
And it'd be 9:30.
It'll be this month. And then the November 2nd, which we'll get the findings, that's a Wednesday.
How does that look in your schedules?
I'm up in Sacramento.
What date works best for you?
I'm up there, let's see, the 1st I'm here. No, wait a minute,
November 1st?
Sacramento, no, I'm there the whole week, would you
Is
believe?
it 10 o'clock on
Not 9,
Well,
9:30.
I mean, it's just the results, so we can always, we can share the results to you, and you can give us your comments and
Yeah.
share with the board. So
Yeah.
if you still want to keep November 2nd without Assistant Secretary Schaefer here, we can still do that.
What do you guys think?
On the
Sacramento
belt.
High. Unless Tuesday the 1st, if it was in the morning,
Sure.
then I'll make sure
How
that
about Tuesday the 1st?
my flight is different,
Sure. Do it 9:30 in the morning?
9:30.
okay, at least. if
So we'll
not-
have all our questions ready to go and results.
Questions will be ready on the 26th, and on November 1st, we'll give the results back. So, it's 500 surveys. Last time we did 1,000. We can do 1,000, but that'll probably increase the cost. Also, I think time was a sensitivity issue as well, so it could take a little bit longer if we do 1,000. That's why we said, well, let's do 500. The last time we did the survey, the consultant said, 500 will be still a statistically valid survey. 1,000 was, in his belief was a little over redundant, but we thought that was a good number because, it would be very hard for them to challenge the results. We need to survey 1,000, but 500 is still a good number.
And the main topic is organics?
No, the main topic is the overall organization.
It's
So
district programs.
wastewater, customer service, solid waste, everything.
Rates.
We want to talk about rates, everything. So on the 26th, that's where you just throw everything on the table. What do you want to talk about? Consultant will be here. He'll be jotting it down, so he'll have a clear understanding of what you want to ask your customers. And then after the 26th, he'll go out and start making those 500 calls.
Is that Tuesday election day?
No,
No, that's the following
It's like the 8th, I think, isn't
November
it?
8th.
Yeah, it's the
November
8th.
8th.
I thought it was the first Tuesday, the second Tuesday of
Yes.
November.
Yes.
That'll be my birthday present almost.
Is that your birthday?
So, November 1st at 9:30?
Yes, you have to let Mike know, Director, President Schaefer,
Yeah,
make sure he's, in, but let's tentatively set those 2 dates.
okay, that's good.
Okay, Mr. Mosher, did you like to respond to this topic?
Actually, I hadn't planned to speak about that, but,
Because I thought you put down number 3.
oh,
That was 3 citizen
Or is
survey.
three said public comments.
Oh, I thought, I looked at this 3.
I do have a comment about surveys, but it'll
Okay.
be more appropriate when you're formulating the questions.
Okay.
I actually, this morning before the meeting, I looked at Mesa Waters District's website, trying partly to an information. And they had the results of a customer survey that they had done,
Oh,
and I believe last year. And my comment about the surveys is the results have such a positive spin on them. I would really like to see a survey in which you ask a really difficult question and find something that people are troubled about and want improvement in, rather than just things that reinforce your idea that you're doing very well.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any other comments about the survey? I think it's a great idea. And looking good. Okay, number 4, household hazardous waste.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President Elizabeth Pan will be giving that report.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President and fellow board members. The district will be hosting the biennial Household Hazardous Waste Collection event on Saturday, November 5th. It'll be located at the OCC parking lot C from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we'll be partnering up with OC Waste Recycling and OCC again. Gina has advertised the event through Daily Pilot, OC Register, Mesa Water District sponsors, and Coach Mesa High School football boosters program, and our very own district newsletter. The total cost of the event, as we were quoted by Clean Harbors, was $28,198.64. This will be funded by the grant that we were awarded. It's the grant HD 23 through 14, and that was provided by Cal Recycle. And within the grant, a total of $29,561 is available, and $4,570 is budgeted for the advertisement. And we also budget $40,000 based on our budget.
so,
Go ahead. Arlene.
so we're gonna have a booth there?
No, it's well, I will try and
Cars,
do
2
the
days,
layout,
2
yeah.
cars.
Yeah.
And it's
That's too
HHW stuff,
Okay,
so I don't
okay.
think you'd want.
Yeah, it's too,
So the net cost is almost nothing.
Yes.
correct.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is we think is a really good event for the community, because right now we refer residents to the permanent facility that is
Yes.
run by Rainbow Disposal in Huntington Beach. And that's I drove there myself, and it's quite a good distance here from Costa Mesa. I mean, you have to get on the 405, get up on Beach, and then go turn right on Warner. It's a good distance, and so a lot of people might be hesitant to haul their hazardous waste that long. So I think this is a really good program for our residents.
And it was grant funded.
Can I ask a question? How is football boosters at Mesa High? Is that on our banner that we put on there?
It's
or-
on a banner.
Okay, so it's on, is it on both banners?
I know if Gina has been involved in it. I'm not sure.
That's good timing because their football season will be over
Yeah.
like at the middle of November.
Yeah, I was at the first game, and the banner was right there, looked really good.
Okay, good.
Good.
Fantastic.
So that cost that we paid included the printing of the banner, making of the banner. They made it for us. Is that correct?
It's been through, everything's budgeted through Cal Recycling, so.
Okay.
Great.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, great. Any other comments? Okay, thank you. Let's go down here to number 5, project number 200-C South Coast Plaza Pump Station Force Main Replacement. Rob?
Thank you, Mr. Vice President and board members.
Scott asked that we put this on the
Study session agenda as an indication of the challenges we faced in this project.
And this is actually on the regular meeting agenda as well for award of construction contract. What we have here is this project is really part of our force main
Replacement program. As we know, force mains are pressurized sewer lines generated
from a pump. And this
pump station pumps approximately 60,000 gallons of wastewater per day. And we know that any break in a force main is a major problem. We call these sleeping giants because when you have a problem, it's major. The amount of wastewater, how fast it's coming out, are all way more higher than a gravity break. So as part of our capital improvement program, a force main replacement program is one of the very most important items in the program. Between this program and the Grade 5 program that we're undertaking now as part of the CCTV, those two are we're really doing a great job taking care of business. So this is another of the, and Scott's very attuned to how long each force main has been since it was last replaced, the type of pipe, the age, the condition, and everything about it. So we have very good focus in our capital improvement program. In this project, our first reaction to upgrading an existing force main would be, well, can we put a liner in? Or if we can't put a liner in, can we put a parallel one right next to it? And the answer to both those questions is no, because the line has dips and you can't run big long cameras through all these little bends, and you can't pull liners through all kinds of bends as well. So we're already hemmed in by those circumstances. There used to be 2 pump stations there. The original one, when the plaza was first built in '66, and in '72 another one was built, and it had a smaller force main going this way, much less length. So what we're going to do is the long one that we can't line and that we can't put a parallel one in because there's so many utilities and it's right in the middle of the South Coast Plaza parking lot. We're going to upsize the smaller one, which is it's very delicate construction itself. We're going to upsize that smaller one, but we also have to repair the gravity system downstream. It was built in '72, and it had lateral connections that were capped. A bunch of those caps have fallen off, and sand is in the line. So we have to overcome that sand that's in the line. Building the force main in the service road requires us to close the service road. So working hours are 9 p.m. to 6 a.m. So none of this work will be done during the day. Additionally, the downstream gravity system really isn't sized for all the wastewater we're going to put to it. So we're upsizing the existing force main, but we're still making it a little smaller than the one over here, so that there'll be a little more friction and the pumps will pump less, so this gravity system will be big enough. So we have all the makings of a very tough project. We have the force main we're replacing. Probably 18 inches away is a 2-inch gas line. Our force main is under the curb and gutter, which means all the curb and gutter has to come out. There are utilities right there. This is the service road around the south parking structure at South Coast Plaza. Fortunately, and with thanks to Scott, we have an excellent working relationship with Plaza Management. We've been in their office a number of times. We've worked with them through all the odor issues out there, their interceptors, their restaurants. We've had EEC with them. Scott's been in a number of meetings regarding this project. We've had additional meetings. So we finally got all the challenges taken care of, and we have a project that fortunately, the low bidder came in right around the engineer's estimate, and it happens to be the best contractor we have currently, who does a lot of our projects and we think very highly of, GCI. Another challenge is that with South Coast Plaza, the minute you get to Halloween, from Halloween till the end of the year, it's bedlam over there. Absolute bedlam. So if we cannot start and finish the project by Halloween, they're asking for us to wait until January. And that's probably what we're going to do. Because even though we're awarding the project at this forthcoming board meeting on the 22nd, the time it takes to procure materials, get the pipelines, get the pieces of pipe coated, get the right size valves, all the way down to all the bolts and everything. There will be sewer cleaning, sewer lining of the gravity system. There'll be installation or removing and replacing a section of the smaller force main. There'll be some new areas, and then inside the valve vault we're going to put new valves since those are over 25 years old. So it's a very comprehensive project, but we have all the right components, and it's a very tough job. So fortunately, we think we're there, and we have the right contractor to do the job. So this will probably begin construction in the new year.
Yeah, so it won't start
Pardon?
it won't start until January?
Probably not, because this same contractor is low bidder on 2 of our other projects. We have a pre-construction meeting this Friday to go over the message on the signboard for Harbor Wilson Force Main Drill project. God had the video up here, directional drilling. We're about 2 to 3 weeks out from starting that project. And as soon as that's underway, they're also doing our Eldon project. So this would be overload. And I don't think we could do that anyway because, as I mentioned, procurement of materials. So we have it under control, but it's going to be a tough project.
Director Schaefer?
I just wanted to say that was an excellent report. Very understandable, which is good.
I try to write in English, not engineering.
And the other thing is, when we have this on the 22nd, we'll just go ahead and okay it for January, is what you're saying?
Well,
Or how are we doing that?
you would just award as normal. I've already talked with the contractor about timing.
Okay,
We did put it in the bid documents.
that's what I
that
wondered.
If it can't be done by October 30th, it's got to go in January.
Yeah.
So that's all set up to go. So we're on top of it.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question. Has that second line ever been, force main ever been used before?
Yes,
Oh, it has.
we actually use it as a bypass line right now. And further to our cause, we know that OCSD is the only agency that has a parallel force main policy, or I should say a dual force main policy. One goes down, they can close some valves, open some other ones, and they have a second line. No local agency has that. I know from WDR. What we're doing in our force main program is what we did on Mendoza was we left the old line there and put a new line in, and we got it valved. We still need to go back and, on Mendoza, video the line, maybe run that Pica tool from Canada that tells you how thick the pipe wall is, and then possibly rehabilitate that line. As these methods are easier to use, that line has bends in it too. But If we can eventually, or after we finish our first round of replacements, come back and rehabilitate the lines we're replacing, we would achieve a dual force main policy in certain situations. It's a very expensive policy because if you're building 2 lines at a time or having 2 lines, that's a lot of work to do for a project. But to come back and just rehabilitate a line at a lower cost than a new line, to have 2 lines is definitely worth considering. So we're not at the point to say, let's make that our policy. We're at the point of, let's get a new one in there for starters, and then we'll come back and look at that a little later when the pressure's on. So that's also a consideration.
Is this, we have 20 pump stations, and we've begun a process of rehabilitating the force mains.
Yes.
And is this the 5th one? I mean, I know we prioritized which ones we needed to do first, and we're actively working on that, the first 4. This is the 5th one.
Under this program, I don't remember exactly the count, but
We'll find out and give that information to you.
yeah, we have, Scott, we have it charts with, Scott went through all the dates, we met with the field crew.
Yeah.
We
No, I
put
mean,
them all
we've
in order.
had that staff report.
Right.
I just hadn't read it, but
Well,
recently.
I don't remember exactly what number we're on, but we did do 23rd and Santa Ana, we did do Mendoza.
Yeah.
Victoria?
Victoria's coming next.
And Harbor's
Harbor.
under construction, or
It will be.
Right.
will be.
This will be, I think, 6 or 6.
Yeah,
Maybe it's a
yeah,
6th.
okay.
I have a question, how are we doing with the city regarding Wilson and Harbor?
Very good. I went to the top. I went to the traffic engineering manager, Raja, and had some discussions with him. We've already had one meeting with the field inspectors, and we're going to have a second. We had an early pre-construction meeting, and we're having one this Friday. I have the message ready for the signboard. I have the construction flyer ready to go for distribution. We are going to be closing one of the driveways of the Kmart Shopping Center. It is,
The first one.
yep, when you cross the intersection from the west side of Wilson to the east side of Wilson, there's a driveway right away that goes into where the
Right.
stand-up kiosk is
Yeah.
with the, make the
Mhm.
keys. We have to close that for like 24 hours when we get to that point. So we're obtaining that contact information. I'll be meeting with him. So the city's been very good. Our construction flyer will be posted on our website. It'll be posted on the city's website. It will be hand delivered to everybody in the area, and the city wants us to have the flashing message board out 2 weeks before start. So we're determining that start date in the next day or so.
Where would you put that flashing board? On what? Why would you put it on Wilson?
We're going to find a place.
Okay. 'Cause that's pretty tight.
I know that.
Director?
We have one little station called Avamore that has an asbestos pipe force main. So I know when I was working with Orange County Sand District, I think they sued John Mansville. Asbestos pipe is not made anymore and not used anymore, but 75% of the city's water system is asbestos pipe. So I'm interested in eventually, finding out what staff's recommendation is on
What
that.
we would do, when you have a AC, as it's sometimes called, AC pipe, asbestos cement, the contractor doesn't even want to have to take it with him because it's a hazardous waste. He wants to leave it in the trench, doesn't want to take it out of the ground. So what we would probably do is just leave it in place, cut and plug the ends of it and
Yeah.
just put a new one right next to it. And, but we might, like we said, we might even leave the old one there and use it as a second one,
Yeah.
even though it's relatively short. But that force main is down the list from when we added back the ones that were not abandoned.
City has the same problem when they have to go out and repair their asbestos cement pipelines.
Right.
That is a particularly hazardous time for them.
Yes.
And, you know, as those pipelines have aged, EPA said they're actually past their useful life. Their engineer said, you know, they're close to their useful life. So that is one of the huge dilemmas
Yeah, even
for the city.
the men who
I mean, for Mesa.
Mesa Water, yeah.
And, you know, the city wanted that dilemma sometime back. And
yeah, the men who get in the trench and go down there with a saw and want to saw that pipe hole, that's what's in the asbestos coming
Yeah.
up in the air. They're wearing
Yeah.
masks and there's blowers and it's hazardous working conditions.
Yep.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you, Rob.
All right, thanks.
Let's go down here to number 6, project 315.
All right, thank you. So, this project is refurbishing one of the pump stations that were not abandoned. And, Milani, how are you doing with the pictures?
As you click on your topic set,
And there are, everybody, there's a couple of pictures down there. So basically, this is, we're going to move the generator that's outside the back of this building. We're going to move that generator to this pump station. We were originally going to move it to the Beaver pump station,
Okay,
but we got so much resistance from the
that's
golf
316,
course,
we're at 315.
the homeowner, everybody, that we decided that it was better to move it to the 19th Street pump station because it's needed there also. And we don't have any resistance. We are in an easement from the city at this park. This is a city-owned park, and we have an easement that's a little bit bigger than what that fence outline looks like. But since we're going to keep the station and move the generator there and not abandon it, it's time to do what we would normally do to a station that looks in this condition. We need a new fence. Scott requested a nice looking wrought iron fence around the station instead of the out of date chain link fence that's there right now. The condition is asphalt is all eaten away and coming apart. We're going to replace the asphalt with nice new concrete pavement. We're going to move the generator out there, and we're going to move the electrical panel, which is in the far corner by the power pole over there. You can't open the panel all the way because of the slope there, and you can't get in there. You can't service it very well, so we're going to move the panel over to the other side of the fenced-in area. So we're going to make it look very nice.
Is that an Edison pole?
Yeah, very good.
We don't have any problem with that?
No.
Okay.
There's also a sliding gate that allows our trucks to drive in there for maintenance, where that will be replaced as part of the wrought iron fence. When we put the generator out there, we're going to have the new fence be high enough so that the fence itself will act as security. We don't plan on putting a building over it or block wall around it. It'll just be open and it'll be secured by the fence. And that will save us a lot of money from not having to put an enclosure around it.
How many feet is this from this building here? Do we have to give notification what we're doing for them to know?
I have, as a normal protocol, I have met with the city engineer since we are in an easement from the city, apprised him of the project. We've talked through what we're going to do, and he is very pleased. This is Bart Mejia, he was promoted after Ariba passed away. And the city is planning their 19th Street bicycle trail to go all the way through Calvert Park. And we knew that from our West Side project.
Right.
So he is studying the aesthetics of that project and wants to have us wait for his comments as to, is there a certain kind of fence that would go with their improvements? What would it all look like? Talk to their parks people. Is there anything the city wants to do, etc. So we're doing some advanced coordination and camaraderie. We have a very good relationship with the city. So we're, at this point, we've done survey. We have our existing conditions, topo, and we've given that to our electrical engineer, who's designing that right now. And our electrical engineer, we had a big site visit over here to look at the existing. And we're actually, when we move out of here, we're going to store that generator here. So he's also doing a plan to decommission that correctly so it can be moved and stored over here until we do the project. So we're waiting for the city's comments before we finish the design phase, but we're moving along and it's going well.
Can I ask a question? I'm not sure of this location. Is it the end of 19th Street?
Yes, yes.
Okay, okay.
Kind of up on the hill.
Yeah.
It's as 19th Street
That's where I grew
starts
up.
to go down.
I just grew up a block from there, just making sure.
Right, it's on the left side.
Did you ever smell this thing?
No.
Newport Beach has their big rectangular
Yeah,
island out
Yeah.
there on the other side of the
Right.
street.
okay.
Do you think it's safe to store the generator, you know, with the fence in the present condition?
We do, the generator will be, it will be bolted down to a slab, and we're gonna try for an 8-foot high fence. We have done some observations of generators. We looked at IRWD. They have a generator right out in the middle of nowhere, nothing around it. It's in a nice neighborhood,
Yeah.
but it's exposed. Our Canyon generator,
Well, I mean, I think the way you've designed it, it'll eventually be properly protected. I'm just wondering, you know,
when we temporarily store it,
when you temporarily store it, I'd feel more
yeah,
comfortable.
we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
I
but
feel more
you're
comfortable
right.
as in the city yard.
That's possible. That's a very good suggestion, and we'll take that under consideration.
Okay. Any other questions, or is that it, Rob?
What's the time frame of this?
Just waiting for the city's comments, and then we'll finish the plans and go into plan check with the city, and send you guys to bid.
Okay, let's move down to number 7, 316 Adams Pump Station, electrical improvements.
Thank you. And this, you have seen a number of times. This is just an update to say that things are going well. This was where we are putting electrical improvements, and putting a conduit from the Adams Pump Station to Calvert Avenue. We purchased the easement, you approved that, the easement's recorded, we are in design, and we met with the city again before we started design. They said again that this was fantastic creative thinking for the district to come up with this whole idea of going to Calvert rather than busy Adams. So that's working out well. They've given us approval again of having a 4-foot high electrical box in the parkway of Calvert Avenue. And they're deciding whether they want us to put a wrap around it or not, because they like the shiny stainless steel. So we're waiting for the city to let us know on that. But otherwise, we are working on the plans. I stay in contact with the property owner. We've, so everything's in motion, and we have our electrical engineer working on this project as well.
Have we paid the property owner?
Yes.
And
We've, the easement's recorded, and we paid him, and we're good. And we also have the permanent easement, just the strip. We have the temporary easement over his whole property, and it's all, Nalani has everything, so we're good.
Is it normally to go a 4-foot high box?
The box we're having, it's not the same as those signal boxes at the intersection. This is a smaller box, smaller thing. This is really the smallest size box that we can use for what we have in it. So it will allow our generator to be pulled in on the trailer, hooked right in. Plug it in, flip the switch, and we have backup power.
Awesome. So it's a great project.
It is. It's fantastic.
Will the city require we have signs there to say that it's a Costa Mesa Sanitary District project? And a little explanation or contact information? Or?
They don't have that requirement, but we do have our sign. We have 2 big signs that have our name and phone, and we drag those out to every project where there's room. But when we get closer, we will be having our construction notice that will detail everything and what we're doing and when it will occur.
Okay.
Sounds good. Any other comments? Okay, let's go down here to oral communications and director comments. Director.
I had a question, Scott, and or Rob. We have a lawsuit, I guess, with Southern California Edison, when they put a power pole.
It's Caltrans.
Caltrans. So Caltrans put a power pole through our sewer. And my question is why we've cleaned that sewer, supposedly. Well, we cleaned all the sewers, and we also CCTV, and I'm wondering how did that elude, all that process where we've been in that, supposedly been in that sewer a number of times.
The question came up, I think, how come we didn't catch it in the last CCTV, and maybe it wasn't CCTV, we really don't know.
Sometimes they can't get through the sewer, but
Well,
and they tell us why.
That's such an excellent question. Frankly, we don't look so good when that's been out there all these years, and we trump our name as we have CCTV, we have GIS. Well, why didn't we know? Well, that's a good question. And we certainly should have heard from the field crew, because they're the ones who said they couldn't get the hose through, and that's what brought it to our attention.
Well, it's possible that NPS cleaned it and they just never told us.
Right. And it's also possible that it's not a grade 5, and it wasn't on the list that we got to. It could have been a grade 4.
Okay.
And it would have been something we get to.
Yeah.
So, etc. Would you like to bring them up to date of Alan's memo this morning?
Sure. So Alan sent us a memo on this. We're getting ready to go to court, and Alan got a call from their defense attorney who wants to settle. So Alan will bring this back in a closed session in September 22nd and give you some more information.
Okay.
Okay, awesome.
They realized they would be racking up attorney's fees, and we have the ability to collect our attorney's fees. So they have
Maybe
reason to settle.
Closure.
The leverage, huh?
Was it Munoz? I have a second question. I got a call from sometime back from Brian Reed, I guess. He's one of the odor control experts that works for Orange County Sand District, and I referred him to you. Are we actively involved in the negotiations for them to use the Mendoza station again to add chemicals to keep the odors down in the northern part of Costa Mesa? Or
Yes.
to do research?
They reached out to me. We talked about it. we're open to the discussion. My concern was I don't want to have a large as tank as it was last time. He said that that's not going to be the case. It's going to be a different type of chemical.
Okay.
It's not
So
going to
we-
be hydroperoxide.
so-
I also put out there, just put out there, well, would OCSD compensate us for putting it on there? Put it out there. You know, so.
Just ask
Well, they're gonna
Exactly.
compensate the,
You know,
the
so I-
northwest residents in that the sewers
know, well-
hopefully will stink less.
Well, you
Their
know,
sewers
OCSD,
will
they didn't say
stink
no,
less.
but I said, well, just ask the question, so we'll, but we have been in discussion about it, and so,
So you were gonna report it soon, I suppose.
well, he was supposed to, I think he was gonna, I was waiting for some information from him. He was gonna send me some more information about the chemicals. I wanted some more
Well, there,
information about the
yeah,
chemicals.
I forget the conversation. When he called me, I said, just talk to staff.
Did that fence ever get built up, or
I don't think it did.
what the heck
I
happened there?
don't know.
When I was president, that was
Yeah, I remember.
4 years ago.
That, what you could do is reach out to Bart if you're interested. I think we were gonna split it or something.
Yeah,
with the
yeah,
city.
it's like 10 grand, we're gonna do 5, and yeah, we had it budgeted.
Who, Orange County Sand District?
No, the city. We're gonna put a nice fence, around
Mendoza.
that Mendoza area.
Rather than that green stuff.
And then just, you know, kind of spruce up the area, and just went away, never heard anything from them.
Okay.
Good question. When you talk about northwest area and it's a Mendoza pumps, are you talking about that general area?
Mhm.
Not north of, on the other side of the freeway,
No, it's.
just in the Mendoza area?
Right.
Well,
That trunk sewer goes down,
that trunk sewer, right, that trunk sewer goes in Baker all the way across Harbor
and then the geese.
and then up to
Okay.
Geisler and over.
Okay.
And they, under a license agreement from us before, put those huge hydrogen peroxide tanks there and all kinds of underground conduits and hoses, and they were pumping through our line. They actually inserted some tubing through our sewer to get to their sewer, and it's still there. And they're gonna try a different chemical. So they were spending more money than they thought on hydrogen peroxide, which does chemically neutralize wastewater very well. That used to be our chemical of choice, but they were pouring money into it, so.
And it's a dangerous chemical.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't want, we don't
Well,
want.
dangerous if you don't know how to handle it.
Was that pipeline go across Harbor going into Mesa Verde? Or is it
It
going
goes,
north coast of
it
Mesa?
it crosses Harbor
Right by
at
Mitch
Baker.
Schaefer's.
Yeah, that's what I was
It
asking.
crosses Harbor at Baker, then it snakes up into Cinnamon. And
Okay.
it goes Cinnamon up to Geisler,
Okay.
and then all the way down Geisler.
You don't think that odor that people complain about the Orange County Sand District is coming from that line?
Yes, that line is huge.
They have a
and
lot of
Okay.
That
complaints.
flows
Okay.
are amazing, and what was good about hydrogen peroxide was if you keep putting enough of it in, if there's more than you need here, it stays active, and it will be active all the way down. So, I'm not
Okay.
sure what they're gonna put in now, but
Okay.
hopefully it'll be the same.
Well, it's a research project. Yeah, I think it's a pilot project to try different chemicals.
Yeah, I didn't know it came from Mendoza pump station.
Well, it's not from our pump station.
I know.
It's just the location. Their big pump station is at Main Street in Irvine. And that thing pumps through the Airway Avenue area, crosses the freeway, and turns from pressure to gravity at approximately Bristol and Baker. And then Mendoza's just a little bit down.
Yeah.
So that's where the big odor starts, at Bristol and Baker. And that, our Mendoza station's here, so they can pump right into their manhole here and get it early.
Okay. Okay, any other comments?
I
thank
you.
don't-
Dr. Schaefer?
Rolani, what's happening with the Chamber of Commerce? Are we having a breakfast meeting or are we,
It's the monthly chamber breakfast
they really are?
on the 15th.
Okay, I think what they sent me must have been the lunch for their ambassadors or something, maybe. That was it. So, yeah.
Okay.
I had sent an email out just to get confirmation again yesterday. I haven't
Okay.
heard back from anybody on going to that breakfast, so.
Yeah,
Oh,
I-
I'm going.
I can't go.
Next Thursday.
No, this
Oh.
Thursday.
This Thursday. Can you go?
probably.
You still wanna go after that letter they sent out?
Hmm?
You still
Oh,
wanna
sure.
go after that letter they sent out?
Well, I wanna go there and, have a little chat with a few people. So that's what I wanna do.
Well, that letter came from one of their committee chairs.
Yeah. And I
Is this
know
a
the
Mesa
guy.
Water letter?
One of the chamber.
And then just, one of the ISDOC, elections are coming up, so when are those due, the elections?
They've already been turned in. They were due on the
No, we had to submit our votes, so.
Oh, I'm
right?
sorry. After this meeting, then we'll be submitting it on the 23rd.
Second.
So it's due on the 23rd?
It's due on the 27th.
Okay.
Okay, I may go to that
27?
chamber breakfast, and that's the reason I wasn't gonna go.
Well, maybe the guy will be there that,
So for the breakfast this
What's
Thursday?
that letter?
I'll call you if I can't go, but,
Okay.
but,
We
I
can
know
put a
that
pin
guy,
for it ahead
I've
of
done
time.
business with him.
does he normally attend?
Kevin
With
Coleman.
And the
Billionaires.
president, the Eileen Benson and Tom Johnson came after he wrote that letter.
yeah, Jim talked to
Yeah.
Tom Johnson.
Did you talk to Tom?
Tom was not in favor of it.
Well,
but
we
they did.
can't talk about this because it's not on our agenda, I don't think.
Well, okay, well, still. I just,
know, but we
the
can-
Can we
cha-
go into
I
closed
need to know on
session?
the
No.
chamber
Under
though.
litigation.
Okay. So, 3 of us are going.
I may be going
For
too.
Oh,
the
4,
breakfast.
okay.
I don't know, is Mike back in town?
He won't be.
No, he won't be.
Okay, let's move down here to closing items. Is there anything else that,
No, Lonnie did an awesome job making this thing work.
yeah.
You should see the gymnastics we went through to write these staff reports on
Yeah,
the
my-
new system.
My request is just to try to increase the size of the font when I print it, you know, so it's easier for me.
I had a question on it too. I thought that when it says, let's see, where does it say it? Pick an item. Okay, here, I'll pick this. No? Okay, it said search, and I thought that meant that I could make a comment, like I put question, meaning that on that one item, I wanted to say something.
There's a
But-
little,
but-
we can go over that after the meeting.
Okay, because it didn't I mean, I did it on mine at home, on my computer, but then I get here and there's nothing.
You should be able to click on your little notepad on the right side.
On the right side.
There's like a little annotation.
A little square.
See, I can't find that either anymore.
That should pull it.
I can't find it.
I'll go over it with you.
Okay,
It's over
okay.
there.
Yeah,
No,
because
it's not-
I just,
can't get- it
I
won't
was
open
kind
up
of go
to-
by memory of everything that I wanted to say on different, because I couldn't find it. I thought
He
that
doesn't want you
when
to
it said
share.
search, I
Huh?
just could put
No, it's-
question, this, and then, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
And now, on our next meeting, we don't have to pick up a packet because it's going to
Everything in
be
there.
on this. And so, that's pretty cool. We don't have to
Yeah.
come in here. Okay.
Let's experiment with it first.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the packages were
Yeah.
really good for me.
I know,
Because you could read it,
yeah, me too.
you know, and have it in front of you and make notes
Me
right there.
too. Yeah, so far I can't make
But is that our
notes.
goal, not to have that?
Correct.
That is cool.
Okay, I'll try to fill the goal.
We're
Thank you very
50-50.
much for the
I'll try
It's a
to.
big step right now. It's what you guys
Yeah.
do. It's
Okay.
huge.
Yeah.
Just
Great.
It's huge.
operating these, because like I couldn't get to that little thing to move it back.
Yeah, it's touchy. So
It's touchy.
When
Yeah.
when you sent us notice of the meeting, or Nolani did, I just hit that,
The link.
whatever it is,
Yeah,
yeah,
the
the
link.
link.
And then you logged in, right?
Yeah, so I didn't have to log in, it went straight to the agenda. So I'd appreciate that every time.
Now, how come
Yeah.
they have those black goodies, these stencil things or whatever you call
Here you
them?
want one?
It's the same one as yours.
I don't have one.
Brought-
So
I
this
brought
is
mine
my
from home.
own.
Oh,
Because I have nails, I couldn't do it, and so I keep one with me, but I would love one, you know, at
well, I
this.
think we have one for you, but you never used the iPad, so that's probably, we probably have it
Yeah.
somewhere.
Okay,
It's
but they
in the
got one.
cabinet.
Yours is still clean in its
Yeah,
box.
yours is probably in the store. Yours is probably in the box still.
It's in the cabinet.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, is there any other business
Oh,
before
mine
the
back.
No much
study session? Okay, let's adjourn the meeting.
Thank
Good job, thanks.
So,
So